From unsolved mysteries to unexplained phenomena, from comedy gold to relationship fails, Amazon Music's got the most ad-free top podcasts, included with Prime. Because the only thing that should interrupt your listening is, well, nothing. Download the Amazon Music app today.
This is the new Weight Watchers. It works for members like Jojo, who's learning simple, healthy habits, Sharia, who's making progress with meds, and Kim, who still gets to eat what she loves. For over 60 years, we've helped millions of members find what works for them. Now, it's your turn. Watch your life open up. Watch your story shift. Watch what you're capable of. Watch it work. Get started today at WeightWatchers.com.
Welcome to the Awakening Women Show. I'm your host, Leanne Oaten, a former counselor with a background in counseling psychology. I'm a mentor for high-achieving, ambitious women with over 13 years in the mental health and empowerment space. I've guided hundreds of women and have influenced over 100,000 through my platforms, podcast, and other courses, programs, and mentorship. I'm also the creator of the Relationship Clarity program, formerly known as End the Cycle, which you will hear me mention a lot of times as we go through the episodes. This program is to help women break free from destructive relationship cycles and come to clarity and power about their next step. This show is for the woman who knows her relationship struggles go deeper than the usual conflict. You know there's something more going on, but you can't quite nail it down or pinpoint what that is. You'll find clarity here, empowerment, truth, and validation. Clarity on whether your relationship can be healed or whether it's time to reclaim your life and move forward. What started as me sharing my own experiences quickly became a movement because the truth is, so many ambitious, successful women are stuck in confusing and draining relationship dynamics while trying to rise in every other area of their life, career, motherhood. This is you, you're not alone, and you don't have to keep living this way. Inside this podcast, you'll hear some of my most downloaded episodes, plus fresh content designed to help you break patterns, reclaim your wholeness, and decide once and for all if this relationship is where you belong. I'm so glad you found this space. Let's dive in. Welcome to this edition of the Awakening Women podcast. I'm your host, Leanne Oaten, and in this episode, we're talking about why you cannot think your way out of problems. And in this particular focus here on the podcast is your love life and relationship problems. But the truth is that how we do one thing is how we do everything. So if you tend to be someone that gets wrapped up in a lot of mental activity, rumination, and worry, then you likely, if you're doing it in your relationship, you likely do it in other areas as well, but it can be the most prominent in a relationship where you're trying to close loops and make sense out of nonsense. And so what we really need to be doing, and this is what all high-achieving, success-driven women come and work with me, whether it's one-on-one or they're in my membership or they're in my courses or my inner circle for women who are moving through separation and divorce and want to rebuild on the other side. Whatever it is, they are almost always not operating from the right space. So when we're operating from the intellect only, this is where we make choices. We have more knowledge. We gain knowledge. We can either accept or reject ideas. We can come up with plans and strategies with the intellectual mind. This is where you are consuming content and listening and reading and trying to gain more information. But that is not enough to equal change. Because what is happening on the unconscious level is driving the show. It's not what you're thinking and reading. If all it took was for women to binge watch a bunch of YouTube videos on narcissistic abuse, and that was enough for them to leave, I wouldn't have a livelihood. I would have no need for the work I do. It's not enough. AI is not enough. Yes, you can search tips and it'll give you some generic bullet points. But when you are not receiving the right kind of mentorship and guardrails and guidance from someone, another human that has the professional training backed with experience, backed with personal experiences with everything that I teach, you're going to get blanket kind of surface level stuff. And the women that I work with, they don't want fluff. They don't want surface level. They are not surface level women. And so what we're doing when we're in this place of, I just got to think about it more. I've got to think about it more. It's emotional avoidance. And we cannot transform patterns in emotional avoidance. This is why women will leave and be like, yay, got rid of that one. They'll jump into another relationship, same patterns, different face, because they have not dealt with the unconscious paradigms, which is what we are operating from at all times. They did not update those. They did not do that deeper inner emotional work. So you will for sure repeat the same patterns if you do not do that underlying work on the unconscious mind. So thinking more is not going to do it. It's not going to bring you clarity. You've seen this. If it was going to bring you clarity, you would have had clarity years ago. And one of the things I want to say here is a lot of times we think that we're thinking, but we're not actually thinking. Our mind is just really busy. Because the truth is, if we were actually really thinking, like using our mental faculties correctly, we wouldn't be tolerating the things we tolerate or doing the things that we do or continuing in patterns that we continue in. We're not actually thinking. And this is where I believe one of my gifts is being able to present things in a way that make women think. I don't necessarily tell women what to do, but I ask them questions that make them think. Or I'm able to witness and see patterns to point them toward a pattern that they're experiencing and where we need to break it exactly. What micro-specific things they need to do to break it that they have not seen, because we're too close in our own shit. We don't see it. I don't even see my own shit. That's why I get mentorship. I don't always see my own shit either. So even though I've been studying personal growth, personal development, psychology, emotional healing, holistic healing, relationships, all of these things for over 20 years now, really avidly, like where I really was getting on this path of personal growth and development and business development, of course. So I've been someone that has done nothing but study this stuff. I love personal development. I only like to learn from certain people, though. I like to learn from high-level mentorship. Not just people that are saying the same things everywhere else, but people who have been mastering their art and their craft for a long period of time. They really know what they're talking about. That's really important to me. And I know the women I work with say the same thing, because they'll say, the reason why I was actually drawn to your approach is that you're holistic and you talk about things on a holistic level, which resonates for me. And also that you have the background in counseling and psychology. That kind of sealed the deal for me. Or I just really like how you approach it and how you say it. I may not be everyone's cup of tea. In fact, I know I'm not. Some women find what I say offensive, that I am victim blaming when I'm putting onus on them for changing their lives. Those are not the women that I'm here to speak to. I'm here to speak to you because you're here wanting transformation. So I'm not going to lead you astray into victim consciousness. We have to get out of the victim paradigm. That's a paradigm. And I'm going to be going so much more into this in my new program I'm creating for my Self-Mastery Inner Circle. I am bringing out my decades of self-study, mentorship, learning about the unconscious mind, learning about emotional mastery, learning about holistic healing and psychology, all of these pieces, identity shifting inside of the inner circle. This is decades worth of work I've been doing on myself, and this has helped me to reverse an autoimmune condition, well, at least put it in remission. They say there's no cure, but that again, who knows, right? It could just be something we are choosing to believe, and I choose not to believe that. It has allowed me to create a very high level of success for myself. It has helped me to learn how to be a woman in business, able to create what I have created on my own. Of course, I've had mentors. It has allowed me to break my patterning that I had for my entire teenage adult life with relationships. It has allowed me to be a woman of independence when before I never thought that I could do that. it has allowed me to really develop resilience in the face of really intense challenges because I have this foundation. And this is what I want to teach you. So if you are in one of these relationships and you're doing a lot of thinking, ruminating, and you think it's thinking, but it's just mental activity. So let's separate the two. It's the more you try to think your way out of this relationship problem, the more trapped you actually feel. And we need to get out of those mental downward spirals and stop dissociating from our physical. And I said this in one of the audios inside of the No More Self-Betrayal 8-part audio series I just put out. $22. Get it. It's going to go much deeper into all of this, what I'm talking about. This is something I've never taught before. This is a culmination of life experience, my study on the unconscious mind, holistic healing, these relationships, and how it all ties together. But I'm teaching you how to interrupt these patterns so that you are coming back into your body. So what I said in one of the audios was that this is the body you've been given for this ride here on earth, this one time around. I believe we're here for one time. You might have your own belief system, but if you believe you come back again, it won't be in the same body anyway. So this is the body you have. We are not our body, but this is our vehicle to experience life through. It's to experience it all through. If we are not connected to this vehicle, we're not fully living. We're not fully living. And if we are not growing, we are dying. Just like in nature, if a plant is not growing, what's it doing? Right? It's wilting away. It's losing its leaves. It's starting to lose its color. It's turning brown. It's not looking so healthy. And it can take a lot to revive a plant when it dies. Sometimes you cannot. I look at this as the exact same thing with personal development, evolution, getting mentorship to continually be expanding. I'm constantly looking for new ways to learn, new ways of seeing things. And it is really important to not just get into filling your mind, though. We have to get into integration, implementation, and working with the unconscious paradigms that are driving everything, because this is why you can read stacks of books, go to therapy and talk it out for years on end. You can listen to all the YouTube videos on narcissistic abuse, which all women do, right? And you can read all the books. And then you're like, why the fuck do I still feel like I'm just spinning my wheels? What is going on? And then you start to not feel very good about yourself. Your self-image starts to take a hit because you're like, I'm smart over here. I'm a doctor. I'm a psychologist. I'm an engineer. I'm a professional. I'm an entrepreneur. Whatever it is that you do, smart, high-level women are like, why can't I get this shit together over here? Like, this does not make any sense. This is because your paradigm around relationships is a match for the relationship that you have. The paradigm you have on success is very different. You obviously think differently. That doesn't mean there isn't some work there. If you want to build more wealth and financial abundance, then we work on that paradigm. But if you feel as though you, like many of the women I work with, they're like, well, I like what I do. I make good money. I'm financially stable, and they're like, it's good enough, then that's fine. If you just want good enough, then you operate from good enough. But if you really want more, you do want to build abundance, then you have to change the paradigm that believes that this is all you can have. This is all you can create. You have to think outside of the box. Well, not just think. You have to be outside of the box. But you also have to have your constructs and the mental concepts and interpretations and perceptions. Those have to be shifted first. So it's all this beautiful piece of art. When we're looking at changing our lives, get excited about it, because you can create what you put your mind to and what you have goals toward. If you change the programming underneath it that lines up with those things that you desire. Now, what many women tell me when they come in and work with me, wherever it is, when I get them doing the desires and visioning A lot of them are like, I don't know what I want, or they know what they want and they argue about it with themselves. And they say, well, I don't know how I'm going to get this. I want these 10 things. How am I going to do all this? And they get into overthinking. We have to get out of that because that's not going to get you to clarity and it's not going to get you what you want. We need a whole different operating system in order to do this. And this is why this level of work is for my higher level spaces, because it is very difficult to do the really, really in-depth work when you're in a relationship that is keeping you in chaos. We can start with it. We can start having those shifts, and I can walk you through the process to get clarity on your relationship. And you can have the understanding what I'm saying here right now is that this is why you haven't been able to think your way out of this. It's not that there's something quote unquote wrong with you. It's just that you're going about it in the wrong way. That's it. And sometimes the smallest tweaks and shifts in perception snap you out of it. You have these moments of this click of, oh, this makes a ton of sense, but you don't want to stop at the click. You then have to follow that through with your habits and your behaviors, and they have to be different than what you have done so far. So if this feels like something you want to go deeper on, get yourself into the No More Self-Betrayal 8-part audio series. There's a chat where you can share your feedback on each audio. I would love to hear from you. I put this together just over a couple of days. I had these downloads of what it is I needed to share. I've never shared this type of information before. And it's for you if you really resonate with holistic, if you resonate with the unconscious, if you resonate with paradigm shifting, or maybe you don't know a lot about it, but you're really intrigued and you want to know why it is you've stayed stuck despite your best efforts to learn and go to therapy and make your own changes. And if you have an understanding that you are operating from the logic, but we need to actually be learning how to tap into the emotional mind as well. And so that's what I put together in this 8-part series. It was going to be 3, and then it was going to be 5. And then I'm like, well, now it's 8. And so they're not super long, but they're potent and they're designed for you to come in and listen to on repeat over a period of time. Our subconscious mind and paradigms are reprogrammed through repetition of new material that is in alignment with where it is we want to go. This is why I am so careful. I do not watch the news. As a general rule, I do not. Instead of that, I will have some kind of mentor or a YouTube video on expanding your consciousness or expanding your wealth consciousness. I will listen to that kind of stuff on my television because that's what I want put in my subconscious. That's what I want going on in the background of my mind, because our unconscious mind accepts whatever it's being given. So we want to make sure it's what we want. It's where we want to go. So if you are just listening to the news and the negative stuff on social media, this isn't about burying your head in the sand. It's about looking at what you have the control over and what is actually making you feel good. And some will say, well, you can't bury your head in the sand. You got to know what's going on in the world. Well, how's that working for you? And what is that actually doing for you? It's not about denying that there's problems in the world. There has been since the beginning of time. And there's been a lot of people that believe they need to stay in that realm and they need to stay in that negativity. And they wonder why they're not being effective in their own lives. So you get to choose what you're going to put in your unconscious and what you're going to put into your mind. You want it to be something that aligns with where you want to go. And you want to be listening to that stuff on repeat. Not narcissistic abuse tips, narcissistic abuse traits, checklists, going on and on about how awful it is. That is the worst thing you can do. And if you're doing that, this is a challenge for you to have your very first click moment that I'm looking in the wrong direction, and get yourself into the audio series. That's going to be your first step to understanding what it is that I mean by that. We cannot solve the problem within the same consciousness that created the problem. I believe that was Einstein, but that is a truth. You cannot solve the problem within the same consciousness that got you into the problem. You've got to get out of that, and we have to get you into a different space where you start to see things in a different way. And if you're ready for the actual process to get clarity about your relationship and set some boundaries around what's going on, how you're going to associate yourself in the relationship, start to get mental clarity around the patterns and what actually is going on, what your part in the dynamic is, what's his. Is he capable of change? This is what women are always coming and wondering. You will get clarity on that. And then building your exit plan. So if you're in any of those stages, then you want to get into one of the tiers of the Clarity membership. The Immersion membership includes my entire signature program. And then there is a Foundations membership that includes a community and other resources, my bootcamp vault, and some other helpful processes that you can start putting into practice today. So I will put the link for both of these resources in the link of the show notes here, inside the show notes, and I will chat with you in the next episode. Bye for now.